So you will have to excuse my tired appearance. I've been working and it's now like well 11 nearly, but I'm gonna have to flip the camera around and show you this dead quick just in case it changes. That means 1 to go. It would be quite cool if I can get that just live, because 1,000 subscribers, I'm sure if you watch other sailing channels, you know, 5,000, 10,000, 100,000, whatever thousand. But, you know, at the times where I'm, you know, if you go back, there's all the time I spent when I was in Cannes, and my evenings were putting videos together. And then when I was in Gulf Juan, and I used to go to the library every day for nearly a month putting the videos on, and for parts of it I didn't know whether I'd make the 1,000 subscribers. Obviously I thought one day potentially, but then there was times where there was a bit of a dip and everything else, and it was quite a big thing that I didn't want to give up on that. I'd said I was going to do it and I wanted to carry on trying. So for that reason, I wanted to do it, and I really wanted to do it within the year. You've got a year to do it in. That doesn't mean you can't then, if you haven't done it within a year, it kind of carries on, and then the watch time, it knocks off. So it's basically in the year, basically. I'm not sure if it's the same with the subscribers. I think you just need that number generally, and then the watch time needs to be in whatever a year's worth of time. But in the last 28 days we've done nearly 1,000 watch hours, which it's taken the other 11 months to get 3,000. So in the last month, despite being at work, there's just been a real boost, and I think a lot of that maybe comes down to, I think I've learned quite a bit. Again, a big thank you to one of my patrons who bought me a new GoPro, because I think that was just a really big boost, obviously financially, and because it just gave me the push I needed to start picking the GoPro up again while I was in the port where I am, not now, because obviously I don't know when this video will come out, but I was working in the month of February, so well, back end of January, February, might yet be March, I'm not sure yet. But yeah, it's sat on 999, and I'm certain if I posted on somewhere and said, go on, someone do it, you'd get that one. I could probably make an email address and get it myself, but like, we've done the rest the hard way. So I'm quite glad that it's on 999, because I would like to see the moment it hits it. And the big thing about when it does is that I've said from the off that any money made through AdSense on YouTube, I wanted to put to some good causes, and that's still always the case. That will be the case. But I've not really been able to do it until I get to it, because nobody's really going to take it seriously until then. But I had until the 7th of March, that's when the first video ever got posted, to reach these 2 figures. And done the 4,000 watch hours at the weekend. That gave us still, well, over a week to do it, and I was in the middle of recording a video. Well, sorry, I was gonna record a video about, oh, right, how do we get these last ones? Can we make it before the 7th of March? But then in the last week, it's just been going, and now I'm just watching it. And actually, I'm gonna stop talking now, but I am watching too, but like, so you guys can see that moment. think you can probably measure progress in like various different ways. So 1,000 subscribers in the way the internet is might not seem like a big deal, but for me, going back to when I first started recording these videos, it was a big deal. And as I say, I never knew if I was gonna get there. I never knew if anyone would watch the videos or not, and to do it within the time as well just means it's something that I set out to do in this last year and actually have done it. So I won't put a negative tone on the video by saying how it would be nice to tell someone now in person, but I'm telling you guys, so yeah. And if I can get 1,000, it takes me a year to get 1,000 by the time, well, in 100 years. Nah, I'm joking. It's good. Not sure how much I trust this hammock. Like, I might be in the middle of recording this roof falling on top of me. Hopefully not, but you know, I was doing that work before and I had to fix them wooden structures, and now I don't trust any of them, and I've put the hammock on this one. Fingers crossed doesn't fall. Anyway, yeah, recording that, editing that just now. Almost feel a little bit silly, like I'm making a big deal about 1,000 subscribers, but if we're gonna put in the sad bits, you know, we should put the happy bits in too. And it was a big deal for me, and you know, in the morning after that, the people on the campsite that were working too, like, congratulated me, and it was nice. I know other channels get to 1,000 very quickly. We might have had to go the long hard way around doing it, but you know, it was good. And there will be an episode coming up soon about what the plan is regarding now we're monetized and what to do with the money from AdSense. It's not that much so far, but yeah, we haven't really had any episodes that would have got quite a lot of views since, so, but that's why I want to keep recording what I'm doing even now. So yeah, it was a big deal. I'm not sure yet if I will have left the original music on, because it might affect copyright, but I would have liked to have done, because that song that you hear there, I actually heard it for the first time when I had that crew on the boat for that little bit, because it was from I can't remember if it was Denmark or Sweden, and the story behind the song's like pretty, what's the word, inspirational, I guess. Like, it was about something sad that happened, and then this guy does this like yodeling, and yeah, I've listened to that song sometimes 3 o'clock in the morning out the hatch in the middle of the sea, so that's why I wanted to listen to it then as that moment happened. But yeah, it might not have even been the song that I actually used, but if anyone's interested, I'll post a link to that song in the description in case I didn't use it. Anyway, where are we with this episode? From there, the work was pretty much coming to an end, and I'd actually had a birthday during that time as well, so on the 20th of February. So the bit at the front where I'm smashing them wooden planks, that was the day after my birthday. So yeah, from there, that work had pretty much come to an end, and it was then when I had the option to go back and do that other work, and that's when I let YouTube decide, and kind of didn't want it myself. But yeah, so from there it was back to the boat. been back a few days. Yesterday, because I got paid, so I had to go sort out my broken phone situation. Really, I wanted to get it fixed, but they couldn't do it anytime soon, so I had to buy like a cheap, add it to the list of many how many phones we've gone through now. But yeah, and then getting back to the boat, there's a mouse. Now, probably shouldn't say that considering I try sell boat trips, but he needs to move out. Like, I feel like he's got all comfortable. So something worth saying is, I expected to not go for as long as I ended up being there, and if for any reason I was doubting it, you know, there's quite a bit of deterioration has gone on. So I've not filmed it because you've watched me do this countless times. The pump has broke and there's been a leak, so all under the floor panels were wet and it's coming over the floorboards. So it's a good job I didn't leave it much longer, otherwise that, you know, it would have rotten the floor. It's probably already done it a bit, but maybe it's still redeemable. Yeah, so that's not ideal. The mouse isn't ideal. I mean, they can swim mice. It's not necessarily that I left loads of food on purpose out, although this is it, isn't it? When I'm here, I think that's enough probably for a mouse normally not to come move on to the boat. But because I haven't been here, I have like dried lentils and peas and stuff that are sitting, I'll show you, sit in these, and it's just handy, what, you know, while I'm on here, because it's dried stuff. So it probably weren't that attracted a mouse. I mean, there's that many little nooks and crannies for things to fall down that it's probably that. And because I left in a rush, I didn't do the whole process of like winterizing or whatever you do before leaving a boat for a longish period of time. Anyway, I'm back, and I guess I need to get on top of it. So the mouse, he's going. I did feel a bit bad killing him or them, because there's probably more than one, isn't there? I was unsure of whether there was one, and then I saw it. So, oh yeah, middle of the night last night, woke up in the middle of the night, got up to open the hatch, have a little look outside, and then as I turned around, seen me, and then he ran off to God knows where. The problem as well, if I was to try kill the mouse, what's going to happen is he's going to eat whatever poison I put down or whatever, unless I use mouse traps, I guess. But if I use a mouse trap, it's likely to get me at some point in it. Where would I put the mouse traps? But it would eat the poison, scurry off into God knows which hole he's coming out of, and, you know, on a boat there's all the parts that I cannot get to. Do you know what I mean? So underneath here, for example, you have the storage, but underneath that storage it's like fiberglassed in, but it still leaves loads of gaps. So if he's under God knows where, every time I hear a noise as well, I think it's the mouse. If he's under God knows where, I put some poison and he goes back to God knows where, what then is going to happen is a dead mouse could be somewhere where I can't get to. So that's not ideal either. So yeah, we're not going to go with a poison route. What we're going to do is get rid of any food I can find. You know, I've got the floor panels up. I'm getting all that water out because I have to do that because it's just not, it's not nice. It smells as well from just sitting water. But yeah, getting them floor panels up, doing that today. And you know what, we're back to longer days now. So slightly longer days. The winter's passed a little bit, and get that done. And then going forward, just treat every day like it's a work day but on the boat. So that's the plan for the next few days. So hopefully we can clean the boat that much that he doesn't want to be here anymore. And that cupboard that's meant to be a fridge, I'm going to just make sure there's no way of getting into there. Like, it's mostly sealed. I think there's one little hole where the electric wire went through. I don't use it as a fridge anymore, so I'm going to seal that hole. And then from now on, all the food is going to live in there. From now on, as in for now, while we'll starve the mouse out, basically. So he goes. And hopefully he goes before I go, because if not, how is he getting back to land? Yeah. I mean, he's had to swim to get on the boat, because it's not like one of them ports where the ropes go from the boat onto the pontoon. Literally, the boat goes down into the water, so he's obviously swam, got on the chain, and now he thinks he lives here, but not for long. He's going. Yeah, and then regarding the free boat, that's a story that needs to be an episode in itself, but I can't wait around for it. Do you know what I mean? If it's not going to happen, that's the mistake I've made. The deterioration that's happened over winter is because during all that time, it didn't feel like there was any point doing anything to this boat, because I'd really struggle to get any money by selling it. So what sense did it make to spend loads of time and money on the boat to then not be able to sell it? But what I am going to do is, boat trip wise, that is the main source of being able to make money. There is a few things that I might hear back from regarding other boats, but for now, I need to put a bit of love, time and care, tender love and care, whatever, time, love, care, whatever, into this. And, you know, tool wise, I've got some tools. I can replace the battery for the drill. I've secured today again because it was like really unstable, but the solar panel thing, in a previous episode I started to make a bit of I was going to make a bit of an arch. I'm going to put that off for now and do the important things that aren't going to cost any money. So I don't want another leaking floor. This needs to be the last time. If for now I have to put some Sikaflex around the water pump for the engine where it's leaking, or that other stuff you can get, I forgot what it's called, I can't remember what it's called, but that makes a bond between the two parts until I can afford to get a new kit. But a new kit went on it and it's still, it's leaked ever since. So yeah, we need to get to the bottom of that. And yeah, we'll just spend every day just doing until we start to see a bit of progress, you know. And on the interior, which is half the reason I, was so sold on this other one as well, is the interior was pretty nice. However, if we've finished off the bits to do in here, then it could be nicer. And it is hard to imagine now that this boat actually did do some reasonably successful boat trips, and they weren't sailing trips either. So the fact that the sails don't work isn't the end of the world for now. And if I can do some boat trips until I can then afford to get that fixed, it then becomes a case of, is it worth getting it fixed on this boat, or do we change? But boat trips are how I make money. I've been into the town today. There's a lot more people walking around than when I left like 7 weeks ago or whatever. And, winter has somehow ended. And it's crazy to think back and think that I've, months, got here in October, November, December, January, February. We've passed winter, pretty much. And that probably needs to be the priority, because that is the easiest way I can make money for now. And when we got in here, we put a sign up, and the plan was I was going to try do a few trips around here, just in and out of the Calanques. So that's not out of the question. if I can get the boat back looking fairly shipshape, I guess. So can secure the mast, and as long as we're not using the sail, there's no reason that we can't motor around and do the boat trips, because all the boat trips I did before was mostly done with the motor anyway, and we'll go from there. Because yeah, a lot of people, not a lot of people, few people said go home, but like, what do I do with all this stuff? Do you know what I mean? I even thought the other day, like, do I just give this, go work, and then get a different one after a couple of months? And yeah, maybe, but I can't really give this with nowhere to put my stuff. So we're gonna give it a second go. As I say, there is other things that I'm waiting to hear back about, like potential projects, one of which would involve going to the UK and doing a big project. But if that was the case, I would work while I did it. But for the future, it'd make a lot of sense. Around here now, the free boat, I apparently can still have it, but he doesn't want to give it now until he has a replacement boat. And yeah, I know we're all thinking it, could have told me that months ago, but it's done. I can sit here and think everything's over now because that didn't happen, or I can try get this one back on the water. So yeah, we're gonna, in the night time, get a job list, wrote out all the things I need to do. I'm gonna peel this Evo teak off the floor because it's been a nightmare ever since I put it down. Just bits, dust, dirt, anything, crumbs, whatever gets stuck in between the grooves, and it's just a pain to keep it clean. So that's coming off. The wood was in a bad state, but we're going to sand that down and patch a little area where there was a hole, and I might just have to use a fairly dark stain on it to make it look reasonable again for now, because yeah, I can't stay like that. And you know what, if it looks terrible, I'll use some lino, a plain brown coloured lino. I think that's what I'll do, because that will be quite cheap to get just enough to do the floor. But don't put Evo teak on the inside of your boat for the floor. It's just impossible to keep it clean. In theory, I could take the panels out, but in this boat, taking the panels out is not easy. It's two big ones and then small panel, and yeah, it's just not practical. I'd say will have turned out to be a waste of money. However, the bits I do take off, I am going to use on some of the parts outside, because, for instance, where I always stand when I'm doing the anchor, that always looks very dirty, because when I pull the anchor chain up and it goes on and dries, it ends up looking quite dirty. So that part up there I'm probably going to do. Anyway, I'm not going to go into all the ins and outs of what I'm going to do, but over the next month, it's going to be Operation Let's Get Back on the Water. So it's going to be like a little bit of a mini refit, I guess, while I've got some time. And I don't plan on really spending any money. I might have to buy a few little bits, but the money has to last. So it's going to be a case of, if I need some wood to make some trim for something, it's coming from the forest. Like, which is kind of what I was in the mindset of doing before I went and worked, but obviously I ran out of money. So that's what's going on. That's the plan. And I do know where there is a furler part and a drum, but it's a bit too big for this boat, and I did find a narrower one. So, but for now, the cost of getting the boat so I can take the mast down, etc., is going to be too much. So first we want to ideally get a few boat trips done, which I've had some requests through, because obviously I did them last year, and if we can get a few of them done to fund what we need to do to the boat, or to bank the money and then change the boat. But the boat now is going to have to look reasonable in order to do that. And if I can get all the other stuff done, so that it's just a case of then fixing the forestay, the furler, and then finding another Genoa, then we weigh up then whether getting that done would add enough value to the boat that I could sell it, because there's quite a lot on here. It's not, you know, it's just everything's slightly half finished. So if I spend the next month finishing them half finished things, and we'll see how we feel then. That's the plan.